I never thought the dust of Thebes could hold such secrets. For years I Neferet, a weaver of fine linens, had walked its sun-baked streets, my hands busy with threads, my mind often lost in the rhythmic clatter of the loom. I was a woman of 38 seasons, my life woven into the fabric of our city, much like the intricate patterns I created. My husband, Amenhotep, a respected scribe in the Temple of Amen, often spoke of grand decrees and royal pronouncements, but I paid little heed, my world confined to the bustling market, the quiet courtyard of our home, and the endless demands of our growing children. Yet a single, seemingly insignificant discovery would unravel the very tapestry of my existence, pulling me into a current far deeper and more treacherous than the Nile itself. Chapter 1. It began with a simple errand. Amenhotep, ever meticulous, had sent me to the market for a specific type of papyrus, one known for its smooth surface and rich, earthy scent, favored by the temple scribes for important religious texts. The usual vendor, a jovial man named Khepri, was absent, his stall tended by a young, nervous apprentice. As I sifted through the rolls, my fingers brushed against something hard, concealed beneath a pile of ordinary scrolls. It was a small, intricately carved wooden box, no larger than my palm, its surface worn smooth with age. Curiosity, a trait my mother always warned me against, compelled me to open it. Inside, nestled on a bed of dried lotus petals, was a single, tarnished copper coin unlike any I had ever seen. It bore no familiar royal cartouche, no recognizable deity. Instead, a strange, angular symbol was etched into its surface, a symbol that stirred a faint, unsettling memory within me. I purchased the papyrus, the small box hidden discreetly within my basket. Back home, the familiar scent of baking bread and the playful shouts of our children, Merit and Hori, filled the air. I tried to dismiss the coin, to relegate it to the realm of trivial curiosities, but its unusual symbol gnawed at me. Later, as Amenhotep meticulously reviewed his scrolls, I casually mentioned my find. His brow furrowed, a rare sight for a man whose composure was as unyielding as granite. He took the coin, turning it over and over in his hand, his gaze distant. "This symbol," he murmured, his voice barely a whisper, "it is not of our time. It speaks of a forgotten past, a time before the great Amos cleansed our land of the Hyksos." His words, usually so precise and measured, were laced with an uncharacteristic tremor. That night, sleep eluded me. The image of the strange symbol, the unsettling tremor in Amenhotep's voice, and the weight of the small wooden box beside my bed filled my thoughts. The ordinary rhythm of my life had been subtly, irrevocably altered. A seed of unease had been planted, and I knew, with a certainty that chilled me to the bone, that it would soon blossom into something far more profound than a mere curiosity. Chapter 2. The next morning, the copper coin lay on our small, polished wooden table, a silent challenge to the orderly rhythm of our lives. Amenhotep, usually so punctual, lingered over his breakfast of bread and beer, his eyes frequently drawn to the coin. "This symbol," he finally said, breaking the silence, "it is not hieroglyphic. It resembles some of the older markings, those from the time before the Hyksos, when our ancestors carved their stories into the very rock of the desert." He spoke of ancient texts, hidden scrolls, and forgotten knowledge, subjects usually reserved for the hushed halls of the temple library. I listened, fascinated. A part of me thrilled by this unexpected deviation from our routine. Another part, wary of the shadows it seemed to cast. Later that day, while Amenhotep was at the temple, I found myself drawn to the coin. I traced the strange symbol with my finger, a faint warmth emanating from the cold metal. A sudden, vivid image flashed in my mind. A woman, her face obscured by shadow, standing before a towering, unfamiliar structure, the same symbol etched into its stone. The vision was fleeting, yet it left me breathless, a strange sense of recognition stirring within me. Was it a dream? A trick of the light? Or something more? I dismissed it as a fanciful thought, a product of my overactive imagination, yet the image lingered, a persistent whisper in the back of my mind. That evening, I decided to visit my cousin Hetepheres, a woman known for her vast knowledge of local lore and her uncanny ability to find answers where others found only questions. She lived in a quieter part of Thebes, her small house filled with fragrant herbs and ancient amulets. As I approached her door, a sense of anticipation, mixed with a touch of trepidation, settled over me. I was about to step beyond the familiar boundaries of my world, and I knew with a certainty that both excited and unnerved me that there was no turning back. Chapter 3. My cousin greeted me with her usual knowing smile, her eyes, sharp and intelligent, immediately falling upon the small wooden box I clutched in my hand. "So, the whispers have finally reached you, Neferet," she said, her voice, a low melodic hum. She led me to a secluded corner of her courtyard where the scent of jasmine mingled with the earthy aroma of dried herbs. I recounted my discovery, the strange coin, Amenhotep's unsettling reaction, and the fleeting vision that had haunted me. Hedophirs listened patiently, her gaze unwavering, occasionally nodding as if confirming a long-held suspicion. This symbol, she finally said, picking up the coin and examining it closely, is indeed ancient. It belongs to a time when our land was ruled by those who worshipped not the gods of our temples, but the very essence of the earth itself. They were the children of the serpent, a secretive sect, long thought to be extinct, whose knowledge was said to predate even the pyramids. Her words sent a shiver down my spine. She spoke of hidden passages beneath the city, of forgotten rituals, and of a prophecy that foretold the return of their ancient power. She warned me of the dangers, of the powerful forces that would seek to suppress such knowledge, but her words only fueled my growing fascination. I felt a strange pull, a sense of destiny, as if this coin had been waiting for me for generations. Hedophirs then produced a worn papyrus scroll, its edges frayed with age. Unrolling it carefully, she pointed to a faded drawing, a map of sorts, with familiar landmarks of Thebes, but also with markings I did not recognize. This, she whispered, is a key. It will lead you to what you seek, but be warned, Neferet. Some doors once opened can never be closed. The weight of the coin in my hand suddenly felt heavier, imbued with the echoes of a forgotten past and the promise of an uncertain future. Chapter 4, the map Hedophirs had given me was not a simple guide to a physical location, but a puzzle, its faded lines and cryptic symbols hinting at a deeper meaning. It spoke of constellations, of the alignment of the stars with certain monuments, and of shadows cast at specific times of the day. For days, I studied it in secret, my loom abandoned, my mind consumed by its mysteries. Amenhotep, sensing my distraction, grew concerned, but I offered vague excuses about a complex new weaving pattern, a lie that felt increasingly heavy on my tongue. The children, thankfully, were too engrossed in their games to notice my preoccupation. One evening, as the sun dipped below the western desert, painting the sky in fiery hues, a particular alignment on the map clicked into place. It pointed to a rarely visited, overgrown section of the necropolis, a place where the oldest tombs lay forgotten, swallowed by the shifting sands. A shiver of both fear and exhilaration ran through me. This was it. This was where the path began. Under the cloak of darkness, I slipped out of our home. The copper coin clutched tightly in my hand, the worn papyrus map tucked into my sash. The night air was cool, carrying the scent of the desert and the distant murmur of the Nile. The familiar streets of Thebes seemed alien under the pale moonlight, every shadow a potential threat. My heart pounded in my chest, a drumbeat against the silence of the sleeping city. As I approached the necropolis, the air grew heavy, thick with the weight of centuries. The towering tombs, usually a source of comfort and reverence, now loomed like silent sentinels, guarding secrets I was about to disturb. I found the overgrown section just as the map had indicated, a tangle of thorny bushes and crumbling stone, and there, half buried in the sand, was a faint outline, a symbol almost completely eroded by time, yet unmistakably the same angular mark from the coin. A wave of profound realization washed over me. This was not just a symbol, it was a key, and I, Neferet, was about to unlock a door that had been sealed for millennia. Chapter 5, the symbol, though faint, was undeniably the same. With trembling fingers, I began to clear away the sand and debris, revealing more of the ancient carving. It was not merely a symbol, but part of a larger inscription, a series of pictures that seemed to tell a story. As I brushed away the last of the sand, a section of the crumbling stone wall shifted, revealing a narrow, dark opening. The air that wafted out was cool and still, carrying the scent of ancient dust and something else, something indefinable that spoke of forgotten ages. My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drumbeat urging me forward. Yet a part of me recoiled from the unknown, taking a deep breath. I squeezed through the opening, the copper coin still clutched in my hand, its faint warmth a small comfort. In the oppressive darkness, the passage was narrow and descended steeply, the rough-hewn walls closing in around me. I could hear the scuttling of unseen creatures, and the air grew heavier, making each breath a conscious effort. After what felt like an eternity, the passage widened into a small chamber. The air here was less stifling, and a faint, phosphorescent glow emanated from the walls, revealing a series of murals. They depicted figures with elongated limbs and strange, serene faces, engaged in rituals I did not recognize, and everywhere, etched into the stone painted on the walls, was the angular symbol from my coin. Repeated over and over, a silent testament to a forgotten civilization. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and upon it a single unadorned clay jar, It was sealed with a hardened resin, and as I reached for it, a strange sense of reverence, almost a fear, washed over me. This was not a tomb, not a burial chamber. This was a sanctuary, a place where knowledge had been preserved, waiting for someone to find it. The weight of the moment pressed down on me, the realization that I, Neferet, a simple weaver, had stumbled upon a secret that had lain hidden for millennia. The thought was both terrifying and exhilarating. I knew with absolute certainty that my life would never be the same. Chapter 6. With a deep breath, I broke the hardened resin seal of the clay jar. Inside, nestled amongst dried herbs that still retained a faint, sweet scent, lay not gold or jewels, but a collection of thin, brittle papyrus scrolls. Each was meticulously rolled and tied with a delicate thread. As I unrolled the first, the ancient script, though different from the hieroglyphs I knew, felt strangely familiar, as if my mind had been prepared for its understanding. It was a chronicle, a history of the children of the serpent, a people who had lived in harmony with the desert, drawing wisdom from the stars and the earth, long before the pharaohs ruled. They spoke of a cataclysm, a great flood that had reshaped the land, forcing them to retreat into hidden sanctuaries, preserving their knowledge for a time when humanity would be ready to receive it again. I spent hours in that silent chamber, devouring the ancient texts, my fingers tracing the faded ink. The stories unfolded before me, tales of advanced astronomical knowledge, of healing practices that utilized the desert's hidden flora, and of a profound connection to the spiritual world that transcended the worship of our current pantheon. I learned of their reverence for the Nile, not just as a source of life, but as a living entity, a conduit of cosmic energy. The humor in these texts was subtle, a wry observation on the fleeting nature of human ambition compared to the eternal cycles of the cosmos. I felt a profound sense of connection to these forgotten people, a kinship that resonated deep within my soul. The sun was beginning to rise when I finally emerged from the hidden passage, the clay jar and a few selected scrolls carefully tucked into my basket. The world outside seemed brighter, sharper, as if I had shed a veil. The familiar streets of Thebes, the bustling market, even the rhythmic clatter of my loom, now held a new significance. I was no longer just Neferet, the weaver. I was a keeper of forgotten knowledge, a bridge between two worlds. The journey had just begun, and I knew with a quiet certainty that my life, and perhaps the destiny of my people, would forever be intertwined with the secrets I had unearthed.